Hey, I thought we could have a little cup of coffee or tea together. How have you been? How's your day? How are you feeling? I love this time of day around 5, 6 a.m. before the world is fully online, if you will, before the demands of the day start coming at you. I used to use this time to exercise, go to the gym, do something that I deemed productive, write, create. And sometimes I still do. But I find that these simple little moments of quiet have become so precious to me that even just the simple act of enjoying a cup of tea or coffee, that's my new productive thing to do in the morning. I really love these quiet hours. It kind of makes you feel almost untouchable because no one's really awake yet. Nothing's really started yet. All the distractions and the noise of the world has yet to get its grip on you. The sun's not up yet, so it still has that air of reflection and stillness of the night. So it's this liminal in-between space between the night and the day. And it's so peaceful and calm. And I just love basking in these moments. It gives me time to think, to reflect, to set an intention, but most importantly, just to be still for a moment, to be quiet, although right now I'm not quiet, I'm talking. But this is one of my little rituals that are very precious to me. I like to call it the bookends of my day, the beginning and end. It's like space and buffer time around my day that's reserved just for me. And especially with all the chaos of the world, I think times like these are really important. And if you don't have a similar practice, I highly recommend you try it out, even just for a week, and see how it goes. You know, I used to be like, oh, I have to get up and meditate, and then I have to do yoga, and then I have to do like, you know. But all that doing, I think has led me to come undone. You know, like, it's just this constant, almost policing in your mind of like what you should be doing, what you could be doing, what's on your to-do list, what's yet to be done. And even things like meditation, like if it's a stressor, like for me, I was so confused. I'm like, I literally teach yoga and meditation, and I struggle to sit in a daily practice of meditation, you know, like really consistently. And I think for so long I've been attached to this idea of consistency, productivity, all these things that are really more external markers of you doing the right thing, whatever that means. I have been more embracing this idea and concept of rhythm, like your natural rhythm. Like, okay, you skipped a day of whatever, gym, meditation. Okay, do it again tomorrow. Okay, you didn't do it at the optimal time for biohacking 101. Okay, well, if the optimal time for human beings is not optimal for you, then obviously that's not the optimal time. You know, like, I don't want to take an ice bath at 4 a.m. Sorry, like, that's never happening. We'll never say never. I will try anything, but ice bath is a hard one for me to get behind. But, you know, it's like, it's all these benefits and this and that. I really believe in the power of the mind and placebo effect and all these things. And I feel like if you're forcing and pushing yourself, then I don't find that to be helpful for me personally. But at the same time, how would I explain it? I don't force myself, but I do, I would say, nudge myself towards growth. Like, I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to, if I clearly see that I'm laying around being a couch potato and it's not from the space of wanting to decompress, but it's just me numbing out and escaping. Like, you gotta be really in tune and aware and honest with yourself first and foremost, and then work with your natural rhythm. And also lately, I'm just like, I don't want to chase after anything or force or push or other than joy and peace, you know? And even then, not chasing per se, but just embracing this natural flow and rhythm that already exists. Carving out more space, these like boring, empty times that we try to fill with activities and distractions and whatnot, you know? It's like optimizing and being productive and all these things, like, I just find it so exhausting, because at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I did a lot, I was productive, that felt good in a sense, but like, that's not what my soul is here for, to check off boxes. Like, what the fuck? For me personally, you know, like, if that is fulfilling to you, take your fucking ice bath. And I don't know, explore, trial and error. Like, I always like to say the the phrase, even a broken clock tells the right time twice a day. So like people who suggest these outlandish morning routines, if you try something and you like it and it energizes you, it fills you up, like do that shit 100%. But don't follow someone else's system and method just because it works for them, like, or is the optimal human behavioral thing that, like, okay, good for you, good for humanity, not good for me. I really urge you to embrace your inner compass in all things, you know? Like, that's why these moments of stillness are important, because a lot of the times when we struggle with insomnia or overthinking, or if you're constantly bombarding your brain with information and stimuli and you never take a break to just process and integrate things, then you're gonna have a hard time. Like, you need that space and clarity to just exist and to tie up some loose ends up in there, you know? But if you never give yourself that time, that's really what meditation and mindfulness practice, well, one of the benefits is to give that space to now integrate all of these things or decompress from all these things. Or, you know how you get brilliant ideas in the shower, for example? It's because you didn't, hopefully, take your phone in there and you gave yourself a break and you're just like there standing with the water, and now you can just exist for a moment. And unfortunately, in this society, we have so few of those moments. So that's why this time is so sacred to me, because it's truly my time to do anything I want. And I no longer put these parameters of what my morning routine should be. I just carve out that space and time, and then I decide in the moment what I need or what I want to do. So today it's sitting quietly and having a coffee. Tomorrow, maybe it's meditating. The next day could be taking a walk, painting, drawing, you know, like, but I think, I don't know, there's some like glamorization of repeating the same thing over and over, like consistently. And I think it is important to be consistent in a sense. Like, you don't want to just do one thing one day, go to the gym one day and then just never go again, if like you're trying to get in shape, for example. But if you find yourself resisting, and it's a chore every single time, like people who enjoy going to the gym, for example, it's not a daily decision that they make. It's part of their identity at that point. And as a person that cares about health and fitness, you're obviously gonna make healthy choices. So it's not a decision. You're just like, okay, I'm going to the gym again, like boom. But if it feels like an uphill battle constantly with certain habits, it's because that habit is not aligned with who you are. And that is where the big shift needs to happen. You know, like you have to commit and decide on that end, and then the habit is more like a byproduct. Like, habits are important, but that's not really the root of the You know, if you just try to force habits, you technically could, and some people can, but don't beat yourself up if you can't stick to habits, because the reason you're having trouble with the habit is because the habit doesn't really fit into your life because you're not creating the space and things for it. Like, for example, like if you're wanting to go to the gym, that's one that a lot of people, so like there's a lot more that goes into that than just showing up at the gym. You have to create the space in your schedule for that. You have to get on a rhythm and routine that supports that. Like if you're trying to go at 5 a.m. to the gym before work, but you're out partying till 4 a.m., like obviously that's a conflict of interests. And there's things that when you bring things in and add things on, there's things that naturally kind of get pushed out usually. So yes to going to the gym could mean no to certain social events, or, you know, and that's kind of the hidden costs of new things. But if you feel really devoted to yourself and being the best possible version, and you decide, okay, this is who I am, this is what I value, this is what I care about, then it's easier to make those choices. And it's no longer an uphill battle. It's just, you've already committed, you've already made that decision, and it's way easier to maintain that. And it's also important to be honest with yourself. Like me personally, I find joy in the gym to a degree. Like I like pushing myself with weights and things like that. And I'll go here and there, but that's not my favorite. I prefer more, I don't know what the word is, like functional and integrative movement. So like dance, yoga, maybe even things like CrossFit would be more interesting, or like calisthenics, like just simply, let's say, lifting weights. Like I know there's benefits to it, and there are ways that I enjoy doing that just because I like the challenge and working with the muscles and like feeling them engage and like being really in there. Like now I have that, but when I was first trying to go, I was just like going through the motions. It's not my favorite way. And like those are the things that you kind of learn along the way. Like I'd rather be dancing, I'd rather be taking a Zumba class, I'd rather be taking a yoga class, I'd rather be hiking, I'd rather be swimming, you know? I'd rather be playing tennis. So like things like that. It's like, I think the gym is kind of like what everybody associates with, okay, I'm gonna get healthy, I'm gonna get in shape, I'm gonna go to the gym. But like, it's not the only method. And if you hate the method, like try another method. So sometimes when we quote unquote fail, it's not necessarily like, it's not because we're lazy couch potatoes and we don't want to be fit. It's like maybe we just hate the fucking gym. I don't like the environment of, you know, like a home gym would be nice, you know, but not everybody has access to that. So just like the environment of the gym, I don't know. But it has every rose has its thorn. It has its pros and cons. But like that's an example of like getting to know yourself really deeply and intimately and being like, oh, I'm not just a lazy sack of shit. Like I just don't like the gym, but there's other things that I can do that I do like. You know what I mean? And that's this whole consistency versus rhythm thing. Like, I've been really embracing natural rhythm. And part of my natural rhythm is moving at a slower, steadier pace, creating more pockets of space within my day to just decompress, rest, just be. And for a while, that made me feel kind of uncomfortable because we are often conditioned to, glamorize productivity and things like that, and rest, and to recharge, and just to do nothing, like the art of doing nothing. I love taking time to do nothing. And ironically, is like the more pushing, striving to, like, sometimes you're just hitting a wall, and then you like go take a shower and a brilliant idea comes to you, or you solve that problem that you've been ruminating on, and it's counterintuitive, so we don't really, that's not always our first instinct to do, especially when we're stressed or overwhelmed. But if you give yourself that space to breathe and be open to solutions, answers, opportunity, you'd be surprised, And, easier said than done, because I'm in the trenches. It's hard, I know, but we get up every day, we do our best, and no matter how chaotic my day is, I have to take at least 20 minutes in the beginning and the end of the day to myself, at least. And no checking the phone, no emails, no, just 20 minutes uninterrupted peace and calm. And how I decide to fill it, I decided for me personally, I like to leave it up to myself in the moment, and I trust myself to make good choices for myself. And it's been working really well. It's amazing what self-trust does. But I guess I used to be afraid that if I just left myself to my own devices, that I would just be boring and lazy and whatever. But that's really not true. A lot of unlearning and shedding old programming and things. But yeah, I like to create like a container or an outline for things I could do, and then that day I feel present in the moment. Because like, also, if you have this grand plan for your day, let's say you make a schedule the night before, and then you wake up and you feel like shit, and then now you're feeling bad because you're like, oh, my plan's out the window. I prefer to make the plan in the moment, but I have like maybe like an outline. And I know some people would not agree with this method, or they'd be like, it doesn't matter how you feel, like, do it anyway. I kind of disagree with that, to be honest. It does matter how you feel, but you got to be honest with how you feel. Are you genuinely drained and exhausted and need a break, or are you kind of like, I don't, like, you got to be honest with yourself, because I now can tell the difference when I'm just like, or even with like social things. I do need my time to recharge my social battery, and I do have periods of time where I want to isolate, and especially if I'm going through something, I don't really want to go out or be around people, and I know like sometimes that can be to my detriment. So now I kind of am able to look at myself and be like, are you really tired, or are you flustered, overwhelmed, or are you just kind of, you know, making an excuse to not want to do something? And the more, you know, more times I go through this, the more the trust even deepens with myself. And I'm like, yeah, you're just avoiding things. Like, you should go out, you know. But if I'm on the flip side, if I'm truly drained and exhausted, it's like, okay, you don't have to go. You can you can decompress. And it's not like a one size fits all every time, you know. There's always nuances. And on the front end, you know, learning to not overcommit yourself to things and be honest with your capacity. Like, if you know you're having a intense week, maybe that's not the time to schedule 20 social gatherings. But if you know, it's all about finding that balance, and again, back to rhythm. So yeah, embracing natural rhythm. And through that, it is like a natural way of building consistency, because now I'm like, oh, I'm just making really healthy, good choices for myself because I'm not pushing against the wind anymore and just going uphill. Like, I'm actually working with my energy and with my capacity and with my sense of peace and joy, and not being afraid that that's going to lead me to, God forbid, sit around and do nothing. Because there's also nothing inherently wrong with that, you know? It's always a balance. Like, there's the basic life maintenance things that we have to do, of course. But like, when you boil it down, not much outside of that really truly matters unless it's really aligned with where you're trying to go in life. So like, it's not a big deal if you skip a day of whatever. Random ramblings at 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, I say all that to say, I highly recommend carving out some time to yourself. Maybe you don't have time in the morning, you could do it in the evening, you could do it on your lunch break, but that little moment off screens and away from everything, really, just even if it's 20 minutes, it really makes a big impact. And it's an easy way to incorporate mindfulness. That's not like, okay, I have to be in the lotus pose of meditation, you know. That's great. And the more you create these pockets, the more you can build upon them, and then one day maybe it will turn into a specific meditation practice. And that's kind of how it goes with me. You know, create the space for it, the container for it, and then fill it. But if you don't have the space and the capacity for something, it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be maintainable. Same with like any new project, new relationship, new endeavor. Like, first, ground yourself and create the space and capacity for it, and then work out, you know, the details and the logistics of it and see about adding and incorporating into your life. But we tend to arbitrarily add things and then wonder why we cannot maintain them. And it's like, well, a lot of times when you add, you gotta subtract something, and some of us are not ready to do that. And you gotta be a little honest. And that's about it. I think my rambling is over. I'm gonna go back to my little quiet moments. Hope you find some peace and stillness in your day and begin to tune back into your natural rhythm, whatever that looks like. And if you have anything to share, any reflections, anything along your personal journey, feel free to leave a comment. And my information is always in the description. And I'm excited to continue to see where this goes. You know, turn the camera on and see what happens. Sharing my real reflections in real time and channeled messages, whatever comes up, and see how things bloom from there. This space, this community, whatever it is. I'm just allowing it to unfold naturally, and that's just how I've been running everything in my life. So I appreciate you. Your time, your energy is precious, and yeah, go carve out some time in your day to reflect, or just to be, just to do nothing. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.